All right. So if you're watching this video, it's likely that you are interested in what we're doing with life insurance sales and wondering if it's a good fit or how it is you would get started if it's something that you're wanting to get into, right? So with life insurance sales, it's just like any other type of direct sales job where the more you make, the what you make, should I say, is dependent on how hard you work and how good you are. This is commission only sales. This is direct sales, high ticket sales, whatever you want to call it. So, first thing to realize versus like when I came from the solar industry, I did solar door to door for 6 or 7 years and made really good money doing it. But you're essentially just a highly paid employee or salesperson. The biggest difference that I've noticed with life insurance is that you're a business owner from day one. No matter if you're just by yourself or if you have one or two agents with you, pretty much no matter what, you're running your own business right off the bat. You're going to have your own expenses, your own income, of course. So this one thing to realize is that at the end of the day, we will hold you accountable, and we do have standards that you have to hit. And there's trainings and everything there available for you to do as good as you want to do, but nobody can hold your hand. Nobody can force you to work. Again, this is 1099 commission only. So, we obviously keep people accountable, but it is on you at the end of the day to make it happen. If you're not willing to put in the hours, you're not willing to put in the dials, and you're going to have a bad mindset, then it's just probably not for you. Just going to say that like straight out, just to, just be realistic, because if you're coming into this 1 foot in, 1 foot out, or you just have a bad mindset or a negative mindset going into it, sales is a transfer of energy. And if you're not able to be positive and you're not able to, breathe life into your clients, then you're definitely not going to make the kind of money you probably make or want to make. And a normal job would probably be better for you, where you can just clock in and clock out. But for people that, are interested in life insurance sales and, building their business in that way, there are, I guess, four realities I like to say. For one, again, this is a business. You treat it like a business, it'll pay you like a business. You treat it like a side hustle, it'll pay you like a side hustle. You got to be learning every single day in sales. And this is just goes for everything in general. You have to prove yourself every single day, every single week. There's no, resting on your laurels here or anything like that. Just because you had a really good month last month doesn't mean you should take your foot off the gas the next month. If you do, it's obviously going to affect your income and your bank account. So it is what you make it. And then, of course, just with all types of sales, people are going to say no. They're going to say no a lot more than they say yes. If every lead we talked to, if every client you had a conversation with on the phone said yes, we would be millionaires within a month, right? So you're going to run into a lot of people that say no. You can't let it get to your head. You can't take it personally. Sometimes you'll get 100, 200 no's in a row. And then that next lead you talk to might be a yes that pays you $3,000. But if you carry that negativity with you from those first 100 no's into that next phone call, and the client can feel that, they can sense that, and you're not confident, they're just going to shut you down right away. So you have to treat every lead, every conversation like it's a brand new interaction, because it is, and you can't carry negativity with you. And first and foremost, like, you just cannot take rejection personally in sales. That is rule number one. And then obviously it is going to take work. There are people who come into this and make 20 or 30 grand in their first month. That's extremely rare. That's like less than 1% of people. Most of the time, unless you have a lot of sales experience, there's going to be a pretty steep learning curve. You're gonna have to learn the sales scripts. You're gonna have to learn the process, learn how to talk to people, learn to overcome objections, learn how to keep your mindset right. So, it's not easy, but it is simple. What we do is not complicated. We call leads who filled out an ad, and we read a script looking for people that need life insurance. That's it. It's not complicated at all. But you have to put in the work, and you have to make the dials, and you have to have a good mindset while doing it. Expectations. And this is for people that obviously are full-time, people that want to take this to the max and do as well as possible, is we recommend anywhere from, I'd say, like minimum 8 hours dialing per day. The people who are really doing the best are dialing, 12 plus hours per day. So not 12 plus, sorry, I'm gonna say 10 plus. 12 hours per day, I'd say, is like the people who are writing $100,000 a month. But 400 dials every single day, no excuses. That's kind of the standard to have success in this job. You want to learn as quick as you can. So go to the trainings, talk to your upline, talk to your mentor, ask people questions that are doing good. Like, be a sponge, soak up information, soak up knowledge, and then perfect your craft. Of course, attend the trainings. I'll go over the training schedule here in a minute, but there is no shortage of trainings. So if you're not getting better and you're not going to trainings and you're not making the kind of money you want to make, then that's really on you. Write down objections, review them daily. You want to hit the gym, highly recommend that. and then Zoom or Office daily. So we have a couple in-person physical offices. If you are near one, you probably already know by now before you're watching this. But if you're not, we do all of our training and live dials over Discord. So like basically like Zoom. So we have like video conference rooms where we'll sit in there and we'll dial. Whenever you're new, you can hear people like me that are experienced making calls, closing deals, getting rejected, getting told no, getting told yes. So you can kind of hear what works for other people. And then also the same thing when you're brand new, it is really important to have your camera on and your mic unmuted whenever you're talking to a client. That way we can give you feedback and we can help you. If you're too scared to get feedback and you're embarrassed to have people hear you presenting to a client, then again, this probably just isn't really for you. You got to like let go of that. There's really no way to get better except for doing role plays with people and letting people listen to you. And of course, listening to other people to see what works. But, having people hear you close, having people hear you say what you're saying, listen to your tonality, listen to what you're doing in the beginning is super important. How we get paid with life insurance sales. So we get paid a few different ways. The first and the simplest to comprehend is getting paid off of the commission from the policies that you sell, right? So for an example, and I'll pull up here a Google calculator just to make the numbers a little bit easier here. So I have this ready, but an average policy is going to be about $100 a month. Like the client's going to pay $100 a month for their policy, right? In life insurance, you're paid based off of the client's annual premium. So if a client pays $100 a month, they're paying $1,200 per year, right? So that's the number you use to calculate your commissions is their annual premium. If they're paying $1,200 per year, then you will get paid the percentage of that based on whatever your compensation percentage is. So we're typically starting out new agents at 80 or 85%. So say you're a brand new agent, and I'm gonna go over the pay scale later as well, so you can see how you move up and what you would get paid. And obviously these numbers will change as you sell more and as you move up the pay scale. But for a brand new agent, say you're starting out at 85% compensation. So if you sell a policy, that's $1,200 a year. The annual premium is $1,200. You will make 85% of that as your commission, right? So you'd make $1,020 as your commission. And then the carriers, they will advance you 75% of the annual premium as your upfront commission as soon as that client makes their first premium payment or they submit their first $100 payment in this example, right? So in this example, for this size policy, you would get $765 paid to you up front as soon as that client makes their first annual premium. And then whatever the difference is between 1,020 and 765, like $265 or whatever, $255, whatever that is, you would get that other remaining 25% in months 10, 11, and 12, or on the back end at the end of the year, as long as that client has not canceled their policy. So that's how the commissions work based off of the sales, which is obviously the majority of our commission. And then of course, you have a policy that's $200 a month, you're going to get paid double, right? Because you're paid based off of whatever the client's paying. That doesn't mean we're out here trying to sell the client as much as they can possibly get and trying to get these people to buy more insurance than they really need. We're trying to help people get what they need and obviously make a good income ourselves. But at the end of the day, if you sell policies that they can't afford and you're just pushing somebody into doing something they don't really need, that's probably a chargeback waiting to happen anyway. So obviously sell ethically. And make sure that policy stays on the books by giving that client what they actually need, not what you want to make off of them. We also make a little bit of money on renewals. You get 5 to 8% of their annual premium forever, the rest of your life, as long as that client continues to pay for their policy. Then you make overrides. So once you start to recruit, build, train other agents, you kind of grow your own agency or your own team, you make an override. That's the difference between whatever your compensation rate is and whatever your agent's compensation rate is. So if you're at 100% compensation and you have a new agent on your team at 80%, you would make 20% of whatever they sell or whatever their annual premiums of the policy they sell are. You also get team bonuses and then producer bonuses paid out to you from Family First Life as well. I'll really quickly go out of order and cover those. So monthly producer bonuses. This is non-charge backable bonus money that comes directly from Family First Life. So if you sell $20,000 in life insurance in a month, which is very obtainable, you get a $650 bonus per month. 30K is $1,200, 40K is $1,600, and then it goes on from there. There are also VP bonuses, but that's not really something you would need to worry about right now at this point. If you're a newer agent, that just basically means you get bonuses also based off of your total team production. Um, Vehicle to 20 grand. So to get to 20 grand a month, these are kind of the metrics that we recommend. So $400 a day, you should be getting one close per day. If you're not, then you're probably doing something wrong and you need help, you need feedback, you need to practice and reach out to somebody. One close per day, and again, average policy, you make $1,000 off that policy. Do that 6 days a week. You're making 6 grand a week, which is almost 25 grand a month net. And then, of course, some policies will cancel. My chargeback ratio or my cancellation ratio is about 10%. So if you're against the average is more like 20% though. So that's kind of why we have these. It's really like 15%, but we put 20% in here just to be conservative. So even with a 20% chargeback ratio, if you're doing a close a day or 5 or 6 policies a week, you're going to be making $20,000 a month net. And that's at 80% commission. That's when you're starting out. Obviously, as you climb the pay scale, you will make more money per policy, and these numbers will all increase. We like to go off of averages and conservative values here. So this is how the pay scale here works, right? So when you first start out, either at 80 or 85% as a new agent, again, as the example I went over earlier with that math, that means you're making 80 or 85% of that client's annual premium as your commission, which 75% is to you is paid up front, and the remaining 25% on the back end. Once you start working, you will climb up the pay scale. So say you sell $20,000 a month in back-to-back months, then you move up to 95%. You sell $35,000 a month in premium in back-to-back months, then you move up to 105%. The maximum contract with the carriers is 145%, and that's only really obtainable by building a large group. Same with anything above 120%, you do have to recruit, you do have to build. But even at the max producer contract, 120%, that means you're making whatever that client pays annually for their policy. So in the example I showed earlier, where if they're paying $1,200 a month, if they're paying $1,200 a month, God dang it, $1,200 a month, instead of making 80%, which was like $1,020, once you get to 120% commission on that same sale, you'd be making an extra, $400 essentially, right? So as you climb the pay scale, you will make more money per policy because you're doing more volume. And I always tell new agents, like when you're first starting out, obviously, in sales, like there's always a learning curve, right? And what makes it kind of worse is that not only are you're not as good, you're as bad as you're ever going to be when you're first starting out, right? So obviously the goal is to get everybody trained and producing at a high level as quickly as possible. We're not making any money training you and recruiting you unless you're making money, right? So we don't make money here by selling you leads. We don't make money, and we're giving new agents free leads. So we're losing money when we first hire you, right? Because we're paying for your leads. But then once you get producing, you will climb up the pay scale. Just know in the beginning, like you're as bad as you're ever going to be at sales because you're brand new. And then you're also getting paid as little as you're ever going to make because you're at the bottom of the pay scale, right? So everybody has to earn their way up. That's just how it works. With Family First Life is the largest independent IMO. So IMO stands for Insurance Marketing Organization. So we're partnered with 10 plus 15, 20 carriers that are all A-rated companies most people have heard of, like Mutual of Omaha, Transamerica, Americo, American General, Aetna, CVS Health, American Amicable, Ethos, Fidelity Guarantee, National Life Group. There's a bunch of carriers that we use. So we are not a captive agency or a captive insurance company. This isn't like working for State Farm or Globe Life, where you can only sell their products and they pay you a much lower commission. We are independent, which means we have our choice of what carrier we want to put the customer with. So we are a broker in a sense, right? So our job is based on the client's age, coverage needs, and medical conditions. We find that client the best possible rate we can to get them the most amount of coverage we can for the lowest monthly premium. Obviously, we're trying to put the client in the best position possible and make money while doing it, right? So when you are getting started, you have contracts with every individual carrier. So you get paid directly from the carriers. The only time you'll get paid directly from Family First is when you're seeing your producer bonuses that the company gives you. Besides that, on your bank statements, it will say when you sell a Mutual of Omaha policy and you get paid by Mutual of Omaha, it's going to say Mutual of Omaha on your bank account. It's going to say America. It's going to say Transamerica. So your relationship is directly with the carriers. That's what makes us that's the difference between being non-captive and being captive. If you quit, leave, you keep your residuals, you keep your book of business. So Again, we are a non-captive agency. You can Google it, chat GPT it, whatever, if you want more details. Um, so carrier bonuses. So there are other ones, but the two main carriers that give us good bonuses are Corebridge and Americo. Corebridge, they give you, it says here, $7,000, but this is outdated. So now, as of 2025, you get $8,000 per quarter for 25 applications. So ignore what it says right here. This is an old picture that I pulled, but so you are getting, if you do 25 simplified issue whole life policies in a financial quarter, like January through end of March, that's Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. For each quarter, you can get $8,000 bonus money from Corebridge just for doing your job, which honestly is not hard to hit. I have never not gotten that bonus for a single quarter that I've been here. It's 25 policies in 3 months. You can't do that. You probably should quit anyways. And then Americo, they pay you on a 6-month bonus. So you get 10 to 12%. If your persistency is over, I believe 85%, they pay you 12%. If it's over 75% pull through, they pay you 10% on however much business you write with Americo within a 6-month period. So if you're good at your job and you produce at a high level, you should be getting paid $50,000 a year just in bonuses alone from just these two carriers. Our lead system. So with life insurance, this is a lead-based industry. We're not cold calling people out of the phone book, right? So in this agency, we run our leads in-house, which is one of our value propositions because we're getting leads a lot cheaper. Now, of course, there are plenty of different, lead companies you can buy from, right? You can buy them straight from Family First Life with Integrity Lead Center, CRM Center, Goat Leads, AWL, Kaboom Leads. There's some inbound lead sources that I've tried out. However, we run our own leads in-house, so that way we get them at cost. And whenever you start buying leads, if you're buying them from our in-house lead agency, we are not making any money off of selling you leads. That is very important because most life insurance agencies will. They get the leads for $4 or $5 per lead, and they'll sell it to you for $7 or $8 per lead. That way, they're making money off of you no matter what. We are not doing that. Whatever money you want to spend on leads for that week or that month is going directly into your Facebook ad account, and you're getting 100% of the money you invest in leads put towards lead spend. That's very important. Whenever you get a lead, I made a little example here because I'm going to put this on YouTube, so I cannot show my actual lead sheet because it has live real customer information in there. So YouTube will take it down. But this is an example of a lead, right? So probably delete this too. Hopefully YouTube doesn't remove me for that. But so here, whenever we get a lead as of right now, we're getting the clients, the time that they put in the lead, the time they clicked on the ad online, the person's name, their phone number, their date of birth, the state they live in, and then there's a fill in the blank, right? Right now, we're targeting a lot of retired veterans for our lead source, and that might change in the future, might not. But there's usually like a fill in the blank, like they'll put in their honorable discharge or I served in the Army or whatever it is, right? So whenever you get the lead, obviously call them based on whenever they put the lead in and you run them through the script. I'm not going to show the script in this video right here, but once you get started, obviously you get a copy of the script and in the script, not like this isn't a sales training, but the script is a guide, not a cage. So make the script your own, change it up as you feel needed, whatever works for you, whatever you hear top producers doing that works for them, right? We also use a CRM where, the leads get put into the CRM. So it automatically texts them, tries to set up appointments for you and stuff like that. There's also power dialers to make dialing a little bit easier. Again, this is however you want to make it, right? This kind of is going over what you get when you have the leads. It's just top producers on the year that was taken in like September. And then with the sales trainings. So one of the good things about this agency is we have no shortage of trainings, right? So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern, there are sales trainings. Those three, just sales trainings 3 times a week. So 9 a.m. is agent fundamentals. That's always going to be the basics. That's on Monday. Wednesdays is about building the why, talking about the beneficiary, why that client needs the coverage, building up the pain, right? Building the why. And then Friday is overcoming objections, whether it's banking objections, social objections, I want to think about it objections, things like that you're going to run into every single day. So 3 different trainings in the mornings every single week. We also have a team call every single Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern, where they'll interview a top producer, somebody like me or Omar or Mahmood or Pierce or somebody that's selling, $30,000-$40,000 plus every single month. They're going to get on there, get interviewed, and essentially go over like their schedule, how it is they do what they do, things they're saying, things that work for them, things they wish they could go back and change, just general stuff like that. Thursday is the all-star team call with Wiley Hawkins. Go again, they're usually interviewing a top producer, give some nuggets, stuff like that. Thursday, there's another one. There's a Closers Academy training with the Playbook Agency, where again, they always have on a top producer and they're going over how they close people, one-liners, things they say, what works for them, how they build the why, things like that. And then there's a coaching call with the billionaire Sean Mike, the CEO of our company, every Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trainings over the course of Monday through Friday every single week. So again, if you're not plugging into them and you're not trying to get better when you're starting out with this, that's on you. We do use Discord as kind of like our team chat team. There's like, as you can see right here, there's breakout rooms. We do the video chats in there where we can do live dials and stuff like that. Obviously, after watching this video, I'm assuming if you are watching this, you're probably looking into life insurance, thinking, wondering like if this is a good fit for you. The reason why we send out this video is so we don't have to go over the basic questions, right? About how we get paid, the overall just business overview of how life insurance sales works, right? So hopefully this answered a good bit of the basic introduction questions for you. But then obviously once you get on the call with whoever it is you're talking to, they can answer any other questions. We can go a little bit deeper. But the whole point of this is just to give you a good overview of how the life insurance business is structured. So that way you can see if it's potentially a good fit for you. With commission only sales, it is what you make it. You can make a ton of money, or if you're somebody that needs your hand held and you're scared of rejection and you're only willing to work 2 or 3 hours a day, like this probably isn't the best job for you, just being honest. There are some people that do this part-time, but most people that are doing well do this full time. We have guys in our agency doing $80,000, $100,000 a month in premium sales. We have some people doing $5,000 a month. And the only difference is their effort, their work ethic, and obviously their skill level, and I'd say attitude as well. When you're doing this, you have to be positive. If you have 10 calls in a row that go poorly, and again, you take that energy to the next call, that next call is going to go poorly as well, right? So it is what you make it. You can make a ton or you can make nothing. People who usually strive and do really well with this are people that are really hungry, really motivated, and kind of just like entrepreneurial spirit, kind of people that they want more for themselves than like normal 9 to 5 rat race. So hope this answered a good bit of questions for you. I'm sure I'll talk to you soon.